1 to 2 weeks away from Iran having the capabilities of a nuclear weapon. Not only that, we're going to talk about there could have been a second shooter at the rally that's just now starting to come out and say, wow, there's PhD audiologists saying, no, that was a second shooter. I wonder where that person is and why are we not knowing more about that? And then we'll talk about the DNC and how it's crazy, how Biden is saying he's not getting out. But Pelosi, Schumer, and all the leadership, even the fundraisers are saying it's over. But here's the crazy thing. Pelosi, what did she say about Harris? It may surprise you. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up. That means the world to me. It also helps us share our message across this platform. Now let's talk about these three stories today. We go from one being the fact of Iran. No one's holding pressure on Iran. No one's holding sanctions on Iran. We're actually giving money to Iran and to all these terror groups when it comes to the Houthi and also Hezbollah. But again, we're not doing anything about it. Well, Blinken came out this week and stated, for the record, that Iran is within 1 to 2 weeks of having nuclear weapons. It says, is this just a well-timed distraction or is this real time? When the White House came out and said that they are on the verge of nuclear weapons in Iran. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken announced Friday that the Islamic Republic has got enough enriched uranium to actually produce the missile that is needed. They're within 1 to 2 weeks. Now the question is, how catastrophic could that be in 1 to 2 weeks? What are they planning on doing with that? Are they going to, they chant death to America and death to Israel all the time. So the question is, what are they going to do with that rocket? Or if they're going to just threaten it or actually utilize it. That is a pretty big deal. So that's something we need to keep an eye on, especially in the fact that we gave them billions of dollars. Obama and Biden has given them billions of dollars. They had no money when it came to Trump. But then again, when Trump got out, Biden gave them all the agreements back and pretty much allowed them to develop a nuclear weapon. This is absolutely insane. And the question is, when we're on the outs with Israel with Biden, we're actually not showing the value of having peace in the Middle East. What do you think it's going to do? It's going to be a powder keg like it always is, and now you've added a nuclear weapon in the mix, and we can only blame ourselves because we're the ones that helped them get out of sanctions and pretty much fund it, and still doing that till this day. Now we want to complain about it. What that shows is we give money for them to cause mischief for us to bring military in. Isn't that funny how that works? Secondly, there was a new story that came out from Chris Martenson, which is over peak prosperity. He came out and stated that as his team has looked at this and as doctors have looked at this, they believe that in conclusion, the raw audio shows that there was a secondary shooter, not the one who took out the original shooter, not the shooter shot, but they're saying there was another one. Now, there's been speculation that there was a fire tower near, and they were shooting there. We don't know. It's all alleged. But the question is, why did they not allow that tower to get checked? Also, the fact of there's been some stories saying, well, it could have been friendly people up there. They could have been up there watching over it. What's amazing how we put somebody on a tower hundreds of yards away, and then we leave a building unaccompanied. So we need to really look into this. I think the more time progresses, I think we're going to see more jaw-dropping evidence that there was a lot more going on that day at rally than ever before. And I saw another story, again alleged, but this last weekend, before it happened, there was a group of National Guard at a gas station, and they said that they were not doing drills this week. They were doing some pretty intense maneuverability with equipment, and that's why they were filling up these tanks. Now, is it just coincidence that it wasn't far from where the rally was going to be? It was in the Midwest, and that they were filling up all these places, and this private pretty much gave this information and divulged it to someone, and then ultimately he was made to hush by his superior, and then they went on their way. So there's just a lot of weird things happening. Again, talking about the put, the shorten, and if you look at the market, I know a lot of people don't talk about the market, but there was people hedging against Donald Trump just a day before his assassination attempt. That's a pretty big deal, and I think we need to pay attention to what actually went on days prior in the communications. I would love to hear the audios of what was being said by the Secret Service. I think that will show a good bit of information. The question is, who's in on it? And what does it mean when they say there could possibly be a second shooter and then no one knows about it? Did you know there was a senator, I think Senator Hawley, when he wanted to look at the crime scene and wanted to go up there and actually see where the guy was, nope, they wouldn't allow him. A sitting senator who has got pretty good clout was not able to go up there before FBI started washing it down. And number 3. This is from Mario Nafal. It says, Pelosi favors open primary over Harris appointment. Now, here's the crazy thing. This shows the infighting in DNC, and it shows how we broke that story about how Harris's people were going to Biden's people saying it's time. He's got to go. And here Biden is. He's sitting over in Delaware by his lonesome self, and all these people are trying to pretty much take over the White House. Now, the question is this. Who actually gets power? I think Biden was able to have power because the people like Pelosi, Schumer's, and the powers that be allowed that to happen. I don't know if Harris is bucking that system or what, but Biden, there was a story that came out that said that Biden was just seeing if Harris could win, and then also said he didn't know if, actually the story came out, and I think Axios shared this too, that if he got out, he would not endorse Harris. Now, that's just hearsay. It's all alleged. But then Pelosi has come out and actually says she would be willing to see an open primary prior to getting a nominee for 2024 through 2028. Here's the thing. This goes right back to what I said last week. We talked about Harris getting the limelight if Biden gets out. She gets to be the first female, the first African-American female, all this stuff, the accolades of being president. But it's just a placeholder because they really don't like her and they know she's unpopular. So she would be a placeholder until the nominee was picked. Now, she would want that nomination, but I think if they can give her a good enough book deal, good enough billions of dollars to just ride off in the sunset, I think that's exactly what would happen, and I think they're going to make her do that if Biden gets out. Now, word was he was going to get out by this weekend. His campaign is saying no, 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 but even the Harris campaign, Schumer, Pelosi, Katzenberg, and some of the biggest donors are saying word is he's out. Now, the question behind it is, are they trying to stall to make sure they get this situation handled before this happens? Harris transition, but also is Harris going to be the nominee? Harris transition or someone else is going to be the nominee, and we got to make sure the infighting doesn't happen at the DNC. I have to say, even though I was against some of the RNC things, especially on the first 2 days, they ended up pulling it together and became a pretty successful RNC convention. Now, compare that to this DNC situation where you may have open superdelegates and open delegates and infighting on the floor. There could be a very intense time, and it actually will look very discombobulated and will make the DNC even come out weaker after a failed attempt on Trump, and then also the fact that his RNC convention was huge. The stories that's coming out against JD right now, the VP, is actually benefiting him. It's against woke ideology. It's against forever wars. So those are things that's like, that's common sense. We would want that too. So it's actually making him look better. It's making Trump's pick even look stronger. Being a simple guy that's made a lot of himself to become a Yale graduate, to then become a venture capitalist, of course going to war and doing all the things to realize he doesn't want to be in forever wars and he wants to be there for the small people. I think that is huge. So it actually makes him look better. So the DNC is actually imploding a little bit. This report is just saying, hey, this is what's happening. I mean, we're looking at Pelosi saying that she is emphasizing that she would rather have an open primary for the DNC convention than appoint Harris. So that means for them to get behind Harris, there's going to be a lot of talking and there's going to be a lot of negotiating. And the question is who actually is going to be in power when it comes down to the next coming weeks. Give me your thoughts on all these stories and how important they are. I mean, remember, we're not even talking about the fact of the Russian hacker situation that has just taken place against NATO countries. We're not talking about the fact that the USPS, the Postal Service, has been giving information to LinkedIn and Facebook. These kind of things are happening. And a lot of times we don't talk about these stories because there's so many stories that are not getting touched. We can only nail a few. But I just challenge you, do your research and you're going to start seeing that there's a lot of problems that we need to be prepared for. And that's why we do these things. This is why we try to prepare. We try to wake people up to realize we need guidance. We need common sense and we need wisdom. And again, we seek that from Christ, but then also we want to make sure that we are getting the best leadership to lead us forward in this country called America. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Again, please Comment below and give us a thumbs up if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel. God bless.